So we're coming off a great week with our MLB best bets. 6 out of our last 7 days have been positive here on the channel. 2 days ago, we put together a 5-0 day. Yesterday, another positive day, 3-2. So that's 8-2 with our last 10 plays, 6 of 7 winning days as a whole. Let's put together yet another one here to kick off the brand new week. 3-2 yesterday, didn't hit the NRFI, unfortunately. We're still about 72% with the NRFIs over the last, 45, 46 days. Let's stack another winning day today here on the channel. And folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB best bets here on the channel. According to YouTube's analytics, over half of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure to do so if you have not yet. It helps out the channel a ton if you do 2 things: subscribe and like. Also, we are back later today for our college football predictions here in 2026. It is week 0, and we've got 8 games. We are soon to be back with the 4-hour marathon videos. Every single college football game we will be predicting this year. I cannot wait. 4 p.m. today, my goodness. Week 0 college football predictions. Greedo plays MMA this week. UFC Shanghai predictions. Contender Series predictions. Let's go. First to 5 best bets today for Major League Baseball. I'm kicking things off with the money line. Yesterday, we cashed with the Tampa Bay Rays on the road in Baltimore. Game got a little bit tricky at the end, but Brian Baker worked his way out of a little bit of a jam. Rays ultimately won the contest yesterday, and I'm taking Tampa Bay to win yet again today. We are backing some good pitchers today. What can I say? The 3 games we're taking today, money line wise, we've got 3 money lines, we've got a NRFI, and we've got a player prop today. The 3 money lines we are taking phenomenal arms and phenomenal starting pitchers. And here's the first: Drew Rasmussen. Drew Rasmussen's put together a great year this season. He's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Rasmussen with a 3 ERA and a .95 whip, coming off a little bit of a difficult outing against the Toronto Blue Jays at home, in which he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. His team still took the victory in that one, and Rasmussen has been perfect post the All-Star break. He has been the winning pitcher of record in every single game since the Rays, or since obviously Major League Baseball went into the break. 6-0 for Rasmussen. Not just like his team's winning games, he is getting the win as well, which again, records for pitchers are overrated, but it does tell us one thing about Rasmussen's starts, is that A, of course, Rasmussen is putting his team in a position to win, B, his team's scoring a lot of runs for him, and C, the bullpen is holding on, so Rasmussen is still that pitcher of record at the end of 9 innings. ERA so far in the month of August for Rasmussen is 2.74 across 4 starts against the Chicago White Sox, Seattle Mariners, Sacramento Athletics, and the Toronto Blue Jays. He came out of the break with back-to-back wins against both the Blue Jays and Guardians. The Guardians start phenomenal, only put on 2 base runners in 7 innings, winning a 1-0 shutout did the Rays. Rasmussen has arguably had the best year of his career. I think you can say it is. I know last year was phenomenal for him. I think when this year's all said and done, he's going to have the better overall season because of the strikeout numbers being through the roof for Rasmussen compared to his 2025 campaign. But he's been one of the better pitchers in baseball, of course, was rewarded with an all-star appearance this year, and he gets the ball today on FS1 in Detroit against the Tigers. Tampa Bay had a much needed victory yesterday, let's say, against the Baltimore Orioles. They were, for the second time in the last week, looking to avoid being swept by the O's. And again, we kind of found it to be a good spot, at least for Tampa, right? I didn't think they were going to get swept by Baltimore, and Shane Baz just hadn't won a game in a while for the Orioles. And again, yesterday wasn't really Baz's fault, but Nick Martinez with a crafty veteran game, and the Rays ultimately win it. But Tampa's only got 3 games currently in the East over the Yankees, as yesterday both teams won, did Tampa and New York. So it's another massive spot here for the Rays. They got to, of course, maintain that home field advantage throughout the American League playoffs. And I think it's another really good spot for them here. I will say, public money is coming on Detroit a little bit. When this line opened, it was at about -150 as of, I'm recording this one a little bit earlier today, as of midnight right now, -130 for Tampa. So the line has come down. I'm really not fazed by it. I'm still taking the Rays. I don't understand why the public money is coming in on Detroit. Framber Valdez is going for the Tigers. 4.35 ERA with the 1.4 whip on the season for Valdez. Walks have been through the roof in his last couple outings, and yeah, these last 2 starts haven't been the best. He came out of the break pitching all right, had a good outing in Sacramento, pitched phenomenally well in Seattle, but his last 2 starts, he struggled. Against the Cleveland Guardians at home, Valdez goes 5 2/3, 6 hits, 4 runs. Again, not the worst start, but the walks. 5 walks on top of the 6 hits you're allowing. It's 11 base runners on. Against Pittsburgh in Valdez's last start on Monday night at PNC Park, 5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs. 4 walks on top of that. So he's giving up hits, he's giving up runs, and he's giving out free passes too. Usually that's not a good combination. Of course, Valdez does earn the victory in his last appearance as the Tigers ultimately beat Pittsburgh 8-5. I don't think they're going to be able to score that much on Rasmussen, so that really leaves Valdez to ultimately have to pitch a near perfect game to win. I understand Rasmussen's last outing, he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. The odds he does that in back-to-back games are just really low, right? This is a guy who'd been putting up, shutout performances in 3 straight games going into the Tampa start, and that you could argue, going to that start against Toronto at home, my goodness. You could argue that's probably the worst start he's had all season. And the one time this year where he gave up 5 runs, his next start against the Marlins in Miami, he went 7 shutout. That was back in early June. So Rasmussen has bounced back before from bad outings. Actually, he had that really bad start against the New York Yankees. How can I forget? But then he came back against the Blue Jays and pitched 5 innings of 2-run ball after. I don't think Detroit breaks through here on Tampa. And the Tigers, of course, have dealt a lot of adversity recently. They have been losers in 5 straight games. We were kind of hyping up the Tigers a little bit by saying, okay, if they can go on a run, they might get in this thing. Well, they're coming off of a sweep in Kansas City against the Royals. Kept saying, man, watch out for the Royals, right? They're only 7 games out of the playoffs now. We were joking about it earlier in the week by saying, whoa, okay, Kansas City's, 10 games out, they're 11 out, watch out. They're only 7 back. 8-game winning streak for the Royals. Just imagine. They don't play today. Tomorrow they start a 3-game set in Toronto against, I love the guy, but against Max Scherzer. There's an opportunity. That's all I'm saying. There may be an opportunity for the Kansas City Royals. Still very unlikely, but would that not be hilarious if Bobby Witt somehow found his way in the playoffs? And would that put Bobby Witt back in the MVP conversation over Yordan Alvarez? Certainly not, but just putting that out there. Anyways, Detroit's lost 5 in a row. Right, they had a huge series at home against the White Sox a couple weekends ago. We were talking about it. They had Troy Melton in the middle game of that series, and I remember we took Tigers money line because we said, okay, they can't get swept here. They got to win 1. It's going to be with Troy Melton. No, they get swept against the White Sox. They pick up 1 win against the Pirates. It's the one that Valdez starts. They drop the next 2. Kansas City series at Kauffman. You get Troy Melton in one of those games, you still lose. Noah Cameron ultimately outpitches him. Final 2 games of the series, you lose 3-1, and then yesterday the Royals put up 11 runs on you, and you lose 11-7. Back and forth game. Don't get me wrong, Royals. I think the Tigers actually scored the first run in that game, but then KC responded with 5, and then the Tigers responded with 4. Immediately then in the next bottom of the inning, Kansas City tacked on 4 more. So a back and forth game, but ultimately one that the Royals survive at home 11-7. I think the Rays have to get the Tigers here. I think Valdez is going to struggle at home, and Rasmussen, who's been good everywhere this season for the most part. I think his road stats might be a little bit better. They are. Numbers for Rasmussen at the Trop, 3.24 away from Tampa, 2.79. Not that drastic, but it does matter a little bit. I will say the home run numbers are up against Rasmussen on the road, but the overall ERA is down. Teams get less hits against Rasmussen away from Tampa, Florida. And do you trust this Tigers lineup? Yeah, they scored 7 yesterday, but, their big run nights have been far, from consistent. First 2 games in the KC series, they scored 2 and then 1. And yeah, they explode for 7 yesterday. But I make this point a lot about the Seattle Mariners. They'll have big explosive nights, and then the next day they fall flat on their face. Tigers scored 7 yesterday in a losing effort. What happens now? And you also have to think, I understand, this has been a very demoralizing run for the Detroit Tigers. Do not get me wrong. It doesn't get more demoralizing than this, though, right? You get swept on the road in Kansas City, a team that when you look at your schedule and the way the Royals have been playing for the most part of the season, the way the Tigers at least wanted to close their year with trying to get into the playoffs with a big push, you're thinking, okay, KC, we're going to get at least 2 of 3. We're hoping for a sweep. And no, you get swept in your own right. It's tough for teams to come back from this. It's hard to lock back in after such a brutal stretch. They've been losers in 5 straight games, and you return home against one of the best pitchers in the American League, a guy who is going to get votes to be a top 3 finisher in the Cy Young race in the American League as well, and Drew Rasmussen. I mean, opponent's batting average against Rasmussen this year is 200. OPS is 570 against Rasmussen this season. He's been one of the best arms in the American League. I mean, seriously, he's going to get big votes to win that Cy Young award. Of course, he's going to be behind both Cam Schultler and Dylan Cease. I think the Rays win this game. Their lineup yesterday didn't look the worst, I like what they do at the top of the lineup, of course. I know they only scored 3 runs yesterday. It was all in the 6th inning, but it's Diaz, Aranda, Caminero, Hicks, Simpson. Yeah, they go up against a lefty today. Okay, better matchups for Diaz and for not for Chandler Simpson, and for Junior Caminero. We'll see how they deal with Liam Hicks and Chandler Simpson against lefties here, and Cedric Mullins. I like the Rays, though. I don't think Detroit's able to really score much here on Drew Rasmussen, and I think Framber Valdez is going to struggle quite a bit. I'm going to go Rays money line, giving the Tigers now their sixth consecutive L. Tampa, best team in the American League, gets it done for a second straight day. It's going to be their first 2-game winning streak in quite a while. On now to our second best bet of the video. We go to our Washington Nationals best bet of the day. You thought I was going Nationals money line? It wasn't playable. Trust me, if Nationals money line was anywhere near even minus 140, I would take it. It's at minus 195, which, okay, the Nationals shouldn't be minus 195 favorites against anybody. I understand they are playing the Colorado Rockies, and the Rockies are still dead last in the National League. Actually, well, not by much. The Giants are right there too. But the Rockies have struggled recently. They're on a 6-game losing streak. Nationals, though, on a 4-game losing streak and have been losers in, 8 out of their last 9 games. So I wouldn't really hold my breath on the Nationals winning the series at home. But Cade Cavalli's starting, so that's the only reason the Nats are favored by this much, right? There is no other pitcher with the Nationals that should put them at these odds than Cavalli. I'd argue maybe Andrew Alvarez is starting to trend a little bit in that direction, and maybe we'll reassess tomorrow. If Nationals-Rockies is playable with Kyle Freeland going for Colorado and Andrew Alvarez going for the Nats, maybe we'll press our luck a little bit there. But today, obviously, I'm not going to parlay the Nationals. Hell no, and definitely I'm not going to be playing a straight on minus 195. So instead, I'm going to take Dylan Cruz. Okay, guys, I've watched every Dylan Cruz at-bat this season. I think he's finally trending back in the right direction. He had a great month of July where he posted an 800 OPS. We were thinking, okay, he's officially arrived, and he fell completely back down to earth in early August. But now Dylan Cruz has a 3-game hit streak going on, back-to-back RBI doubles, and back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday against the Marlins. Yesterday, a 2-hit game for Cruz as well, his first 2-hit game in about a week. We'll take that. I know the second hit was literally a swinging bunt, but who cares? A hit's a hit. It's all that matters for me. Cruz average up now to 215, 650 OPS. Hold on now. But obviously, again, the Nationals are they're still holding out on Cruz in terms of they still believe enough. He bats in either the 1, 2, 3, or 4 spot pretty much every single game, and that's going to continue here. So yesterday, Nationals lose yet again. Shock. We were not that hopeful about yesterday's Nationals game. We took Dalen Lyle on the 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI, and Lyle went over. He had the first hit of the game for the Nationals in the top of the 4th of the ground rule double, and then immediately Dylan Cruz drove him in out of the 4 spot. Cruz hit a double over the center fielder's head. I thought potentially that ball would have gotten out, but it one-hopped the wall. Again, got over Esteyor Ruiz's head in center field. Cruz gets on with that double to score Dalen Lyle. Ultimately, the Nats only had 5 hits in the entire game, but Cruz had 2, and Lyle had that 1 plus the run, so of course Lyle goes over. Okay. Can't take Dalen Lyle today. He's at like minus 180 for the over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. The Cade Cavalli strikeout line, I think it's like over 5.5 at minus 175. Not going to touch that at all. There's just no value there. The best value for the Nationals today is going to be Dylan Cruz. He's been swinging a better bat, and I understand the numbers against righties may not be that good this season. Well, yesterday, though, Cruz picks up 2 hits against right-handed pitching. And again, you can say what you want about the swinging bunt. It's that double into deep center field that scores Dalen Lyle in the top of the 4th inning. That means everything yesterday for Cruz in that swing. I know Dylan usually backs himself always into 0-2 or 2 strike counts immediately as the AB starts, but again, yesterday Cruz on a 1-2 pitch takes a sweeper 400 something at 390 feet, let's say, into deep center field, because that ballpark's dimensions out there in Miami. It's pretty deep into straightaway center. Cruz hits that ball hard. It one hops the wall. By the way, shout out to Jacob Young yesterday with his Spider-Man catch in center field to take away either a home run or definitely an extra base knock. Of course, Nationals can't put any of that momentum together. We still lose because we suck, but whatever. Great play by JY yesterday, and Dylan Cruz, of course, is the only Nationals hitter yesterday with multiple hits. I think Cruz is going to come through yet again today. I have a feeling Cruz might go yard. Ryan Feltner pitching today for Colorado. Not a lefty, but Feltner, a right-handed arm with a 6 ERA on the season, coming off of some pretty brutal starts. He's posting a 7 ERA so far in the month of August, and his last outing at home against the Dodgers, 5 innings, 8 hits, and 7 runs. Yes, it's the Dodgers, and well, the Dodgers have had their ups and downs of the season, but obviously it's still a lineup that has Shohei Ohtani, that has Freddie Freeman, has Mookie Betts, has Andy Pajes, and when he feels like being a good baseball player, Kyle Tucker, who Dodgers fans like to say is the worst player in the sport, and he still has a 720 OPS, but it's okay. They were talking about, send him to the rookie ball league. What are we doing? I think that was Oral Hershiser that said that, but I'm like, dude, or was that Eric Karros? I don't know. Like, he still bats 720, like 720 OPS. Okay, I'm praising Dylan Cruz. Dylan Cruz's OPS is 650, and I'm saying, oh my goodness, he's so back. Like, come on. Dodgers fans are so spoiled, it's crazy. Anyways, like, I know he's not having a good year. I'd love to have Kyle Tucker on my team for 4 years. And that's the thing, he's on a 4-year deal. He's gone after 4 years, even if he continues to suck. He's off the books by 2030. It's so crazy. It's not like he's on an Anthony Rendon contract. Like, he's not there for 7 seasons. It's not like you gave him, a 14-year extension. Whatever. Feltner starting tonight for the Rockies. He's struggled in the month of August, struggled for the most part this season. He came off the injured list and had a really good start late in May against the San Francisco Giants. I was at that start where Feltner went 6 shutout and then had a really good start after that against the Milwaukee Brewers where he went 6 innings of 1-run ball as well. But since those 2 good return starts for Feltner, it has been kind of tough sledding for him. And I think the Nationals put together some runs against Feltner, but I don't really have much confidence throughout this lineup right now. And that's why I am hesitant on taking the Nationals potentially tomorrow against Kyle Freeland. They just don't score runs, and there's very limited guys in the lineup that I have trust in right now. Okay, Dalen Lyle's our best hitter, which I like Dalen. I'm a fan. Dalen Lyle's hitting .245 this year with the .690 OPS. He's our best guy. Maybe CJ's back today. I could see Abrams potentially being back in a DH role. I'm getting the feeling, I don't know. Is there a chance CJ never plays again for the Nationals? No, I think he's going to play soon, but I don't know. Obviously, you have the controversy of sorts with him going or getting moved to second base. Abrams obviously was not happy with that move. Maybe was, kind of outspoken saying that, I like being the captain of the defense or in the infield. I don't really want to play second base, but they're moving him there anyway. Now with the knee injury, I understand, it was a legit knee injury that he suffered or ankle injury that he suffered in Texas, but, he's been day-to-day for about 5 days now. I'm hoping he plays again this year. They haven't talked about the IL. I think he should be back soon. Maybe in a DH capacity today. But without CJ Abrams, and obviously James Wood's still in the IL, I think they're going to hold Wood out for the rest of the season, unfortunately. Who, by the way, James Wood still leads the MLB in runs scored this season, which is crazy. He hasn't played in a month. This lineup, Dalen Lyle, Abby Ortiz, Cruz, Ruiz, Tena, Vivas, Chaparro, Nunez, Young. Oh boy. Okay, so here's the thing. Abby Ortiz was really good when he came up for the Nationals. Oh, he's better than Luis Garcia. He's not really. He's a good bat. I like Abby. Is he the level of a Luis Garcia? No. Him and Chaparro, the platoon at first base is great. We knew those Abby numbers, though, ultimately were not sustainable. Oh, he's going to have a 900 OPS or even an 850 OPS. I don't think that's what he's going to continue to be. He hit 5 home runs in his first week with the Nationals. He's cooled off since. Okay, I understand he missed a home run by this much in Texas the other day, but I don't know. I hope Abby's going to continue to be a good player. I just don't think he's going to be Garcia level for us. The rest of the lineup, Jorbit Vivas sucks. We know that. Vivas yesterday hit a double off the wall that could have easily been a triple. Vivas, by the way, was 0 for his last 20-something ABs. Vivas hits a double off the wall and pimps it like he's Barry Bonds. He looks at it. I don't know, maybe he does, the Christian Cage looking out to the peeps and whatnot in the crowd, and he realizes, oh, wait, this is going to hit the wall. So Vivas starts running, and he barely gets to second base. You could have been standing on third. I'm so sick of Vivas. He sucks, and the one time he does anything well, that's the 3rd time this year where he stared down a home run that he thought it was a homer and ended up clanking off the wall. He's hit 4 career home runs, and he thinks he's Barry Bonds. It's just, oh my gosh. I like Keybear a lot, but is Keybear Ruiz really a 4-hitter for the Nationals? I guess. He's batting .280 on the year. He's our highest OPS guy right now. Andres Chaparro, I think Andres should be batting a lot higher than 7th. Chaparro got on base twice yesterday. But I think, I think the Cruz swing is looking a lot better. He's hitting the ball very hard, and Cruz has always done that. And, okay, the Savant page, it's not a masterpiece, but it's getting there. Compared to last year's Savant page for Cruz, right, where he really struggled. Not good stuff. Obviously not a qualified hitter. But in 2026, look at this, man. Exit velo's up, bat speed's up. Expected batting average is .240, which, is still encouraging, right? I think a lot of and obviously, again, Cruz was supposed to be, one of the best players in baseball. Is he still going to potentially be that? I don't know. But, if Cruz's average right now said .240 with about, I don't know, what does that send his OPS? Like .690, we're having a much different conversation just throughout the baseball world about Cruz. Because right now it's like, oh, he's a bust, he's awful. If he's batting .240 with the .690 OPS, you're thinking, okay, like, he's a year away from being really good. So I hope these advanced numbers eventually balance itself out for Cruz. He's a good baseball player. He needs to limit the chase and limit the strikeouts. I still think he's going to be fine. Again, guys, the red in the middle of the chart is still, I'm clinging on to that, man. Barrel rate's great. Hard hit rate's great. Average exit velo's great. he's gonna still be a great baseball player. It needs time. He's only 24, okay? Dylan Cruz today, though, goes over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI at -130. I think he's gonna have multiple hits himself. I think there's a potential for a home run, and if not, it'll probably be him legitimately driving in Dalen Lyle once again with the hit. I'm okay with it. Give me Dylan Cruz on the over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBI. Last time we had Cruz, I believe, on this, he did hit a home run. So I like the spot enough for my guy, Dylan Cruz. Okay, on now to our third best bet of the video. We go to our NRFI. Yesterday, thanks for nothing, Jake Bennett. Giants score in the first inning off of them. The Giants, really? Okay. Willie Adames is getting hits. Rafael Devers is walking early. All right, man. Let's go to a NRFI that I think is very underpriced here. What I mean by that is I really don't see why this is -120. This, to me, feels -140, which hopefully this doesn't mean we're, falling straight into a trap. But the NRFIs for us have still been great. 72%, I believe it is, over the last 45, 46 days. Phenomenal numbers for us, okay? Let's get another one today. Of course, hit one 2 days ago with that Tampa-Baltimore game with our 5-0 day on Saturday. Let's get another one here. I really like I love the value for this, and I think the value should be a little worse actually for us, but I'm not complaining at -120 odds. Parker Messick versus George Clausen here? Absolutely. Guys, the numbers that we're seeing in a George Clausen recently are so much better than what we had early in the season, because if you remember, he had a 3 whip after his third start in the MLB. Last 2 outings for him, it's been really good for George Clausen. 1.62 whip still is Clausen's stat there, but a 3.74 ERA on the season. It's the last 2 outings. Went from a 7.27 ERA to a 5.52. Now they're at 3.74. 2 starts ago against the Rangers, he goes 6 innings, 5 hits, and 2 runs. We took the Rangers that game, and early we were seeing, okay, this is why, he's got the 3 whip. First inning for Clausen, I think it was the first, it might have been the second inning. I think it was the second. Second inning for him, bases loaded, 1 out. He's walking a bunch of guys, escapes out of that jam, only giving up 1, and he gives up 1 more run throughout his entire outing. But his last appearance in Houston on Tuesday night at Daikin Park, 7 innings of shutout baseball for Clausen, walks 3 batters, and that's always a concern for him, and especially in a NRFI, we're scared about the walks, but only 1 hit. The walks, again, 5 hits in his first 2 starts, 4 in his third, 1 in that game against the Rangers. In his last outing in Houston, he did have 3 walks. Let's get 0, please, in the first inning. But the reason I like this so much is because of how good Clausen has been recently with those starts against both American League West squads in the Rangers and Astros. And of course, we're back with old reliable, the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to break down the Cleveland lineup in a second here because, trust me, we know Cleveland's lineup like the back of our hand at this point. But Parker Messick getting the ball tonight for the Guardians, 2.54 ERA on the season for the first-time All-Star, 1.03 whip. Yeah, Parker's been great this year. He was on the losing end, and he did take the loss in this game of a 1-0, again, L to the San Francisco Giants, where Tugboat pitched and Adrian Hauser, pitched for the Giants in that contest. But ultimately, Messick pitches great. 6 2/3, 6 hits, 1 run, 10 Ks. And yet he takes the L because he gave up a solo shot. I think it was it a solo shot? I think it might have been. No, it was just 1 run. I think he walked a guy and then he scored. Regardless, doesn't matter. Messick pitched really well. He gave up 1 run. He takes the loss. Again, that's why, as we say all the time, records for pitchers just don't matter. But Cleveland here now goes on the road after playing a series in Colorado over the weekend in which they swept the Colorado Rockies. Yesterday, Foster Griffin gave him a really good start. I miss you, Foster. Miss having you in D.C., man. Him and Cade on back-to-back days right now would be really nice. Anyways, Messick gets the ball today, and I think it's a really good spot. Again, his last start was great. Cleveland's lineup, as we talk about all the time, gotta get Steven Kwan. Gotta get him. If you can get Kwan, your odds for cashing a NRFI go from, let's say, 50% to 75%. And I'm not just saying that, because he's a leadoff base runner. No. It's just how many times Steven Kwan gets on base. Yesterday, another Steven Kwan type game, 2 for 5, 2 runs. He gets on base and he scores. How does that game start yesterday? Steven Kwan with the leadoff single. Pitcher yesterday for Colorado was Tomoyoki Sugano. Games led off with a Steven Kwan at single, and then what happens immediately after? Chase DeLauder in the 2 spot, drives him in with an RBI triple. Joe Adell then actually brought in Chase DeLauder right after that with an RBI single, but you get my point, right? Kwan is a huge determining factor on whether or not you're going to win a NRFI. Yesterday, Guardians sat Jose Ramirez. We can expect J-Ram to be back in the lineup today, likely back in the 3 spot. If I had to guess, they will go Steven Kwan in the 1, Chase DeLauder in the 2. Actually, sorry, J-Ram in the 3. They'll probably go Lowe in the 4, Adell in the 5. Or sorry, they need 1 righty to split it up. They'll probably go Adell in the 4. I think. We'll see. Regardless, we're going to see Quan, Delauder, Ramirez, and then a combination of either Adele or Lowe after. I'm okay with it. I've liked what we've seen recently at George Clausen. The strikeout numbers continue to trend more in the right direction for him. That last start, again, I was so impressed against the Astros. The Angels win a 3-1 game on the road against the American League's second leading scoring team. Of course, you know how great their bats are with Yordan Alvarez and company, and Clausen gives them 21 outs with only 4 base runners put on, 3 via a walk, and of course, 1 with a base hit. It's a huge game for him, and I do think he manages against the Guardians, but we gotta limit the free passes. Of course, the player, again, and we talk about him all the time with the NRFIs, but he is the main reason, right? If we're gonna lose a Guardians NRFI, it's gonna be because of Quan. He works really great at bats, he's able to draw walks, and he doesn't strike out. And of course, Quan goes from batting 180 to 270 now in the season. Gotta get him to start the game. DeLauder, J-Ram, they are, achievable outs, but much more achievable when Quan's not standing on first base. And the speed, of course, that he has to potentially, take a single in a right or single into center field to third or whatnot, right? You can tag up on a deep fly ball, right? Need to keep Quan off the base paths. I think George Clausen does exactly that. He just can't walk anybody. That's a main concern. Flip side, Parker Messick. This is the easier part of it, if I had to imagine. The Angels are back at home, right? This game is in Anaheim. And by the way, we will talk about the Guardians in a minute and just how they are re-emerging into the playoff picture. And they could potentially win the American League Central. Probably not going to win the entire thing, but there's a very good chance they could potentially overtake the White Sox, who continue to play good baseball, of course, with another walk-off yesterday, thanks to first-time All-Star Tristan Peters. Going back to Cleveland, right? They keep winning games, and Parker Messick will look to get 3 outs against the Angels. The Angels coming off of winning 2 of 3 in back-to-back series against both the Astros and Rangers on the road. So they took 4 of 6 against the 2 leading teams in the American League West, and the Mariners really can never put together any serious momentum, so that entire division's just kind of, scuffling at 500. Likely bats we'll see early in this game will be Zach Neto, Mike Trout. They'll probably go Jose Siri against the lefty. I'm not that concerned. Sean Noel won't be batting. Sean Noel's usually in the middle of the lineup regardless. I'm okay with this. Parker Messick, 2.28 ERA in the month of August, 1.48 ERA in the month of July. One of the better arms in the sport. One of the better left-handed pitchers in the sport. His last outing against the Angels, 6 2/3, 2-run baseball. More than manageable for me. The guy to watch out for with the Angels, as always, Mike Trout. I will say Zach Neto is a concern, and he is a concern if you leave a ball in the strike zone. If you've watched Zach Neto play this year, he's got one of the worst chase rates, if not maybe the worst chase rate in the entire sport. He has no idea how to lay off an off-speed pitch in the dirt. He will swing, and swing some more. So if you are Parker Messick, if you are the Guardians, something to definitely attack early in this game, because if you do, and I will say to give credit to Zach Neto, if you leave a ball for him in the zone, he's going to hit it hard, and he's going to hit it very far. Throw stuff out of the zone, you should be able to get a lot of swing and miss on the guy. And to this day, I still find it so crazy. The Angels said their asking price for Neto was Franklin Arias. I mean, I don't know if they're ever going to get, great value for Neto, but man, you're asking for that much? My goodness. Mike Trout's always a concern. Trout, only batting 240 on the season, but of course the 820 OPS speaks for itself. Trout's been a, pretty good home run guy this season. He's hit 20, of course, he's dealt with injuries, 46 RBI in the season for Trout. It's a good year, all things considered, for the 35-year-old. But I think Messick and George Clausen are able to get us outs here at Angel Stadium. And the Guardians, man, they keep on winning games. Cleveland currently in that final wildcard spot, tied with the Texas Rangers at 65 and 66. I think it's going to come down to Cleveland and Toronto. Obviously, Detroit's out of this picture now. It's going to come down to Toronto and Cleveland. I still think that American League West could be won by the Mariners, maybe. But I think it's probably Houston still. But watch out, Cleveland could wind up as a 6th seed, and they would get to go to Houston or Texas or Seattle in the first round. Very manageable spot considering the pitching that Cleveland has. They are a dangerous team in the playoffs if they can get there. And of course, guard ball, of course, their tricky dicky shenanigans always usually pay off. Give me Cleveland and Angels NRFI today from Anaheim at -120. On now to our 4th best bet of the video. We go to the pitchers duel up in the Pacific Northwest. The game of the day today, undeniably, Zach Wheeler, Logan Gilbert. What a matchup. Guys, the over-under in this game is 6.5 runs. Crazy. The lowest, of course, by far today. We're going to have a game that we're going to end the video with where the run total is 7.5. 6.5 is crazy low, man. Zach Wheeler gets the ball, of course, for the Phils. Logan Gilbert gets the ball for the Seattle Mariners. Gotta go Philly in this game. Gotta take Philadelphia. 9-game winning streak currently for the Phillies. They kind of have that, just unbeatable vibes around them right now in terms of just their winning streak. If you watched their game yesterday, they're down at 4. It was a 4-0 or 3-0. I think it was 3-0, right? No, it was 4-0. They were down 4-0 going into the bottom of the 9th inning. They are down to their final out, and with the bases loaded and 2 outs, Edmundo Sosa hits a bases clearing double. Okay, great. Tying run on second, and here comes Brian De La Cruz, 9 spot in the order. Hits a ball in the left field, it gets through, Edmundo Sosa scores, and then Kyle Schwarber comes up to the plate, and the rest is history. Riley O'Brien only gets 2 outs, he allows 6 runs, and Kyle Schwarber walks off the Cardinals with a 460-foot bomb into deep center field. Phillies sweep St. Louis, and again, it is now 9 consecutive victories for the Philadelphia Phillies. They swept the Marlins, they swept the Twins, and now they move on to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Mariners. It's really hard to pick against this team right now. I know Logan Gilbert's by far the best arm on Seattle. He's the one guy, though, where he's actually better on the road. 4 ERA for Logan Gilbert in Seattle this season, 2.49 ERA for Logan Gilbert away from Seattle. And the Mariners are just so weird because, okay, so we had the Mariners on Saturday, and we are very grateful for what Seattle did. Awesome walk-off win. Arozarena, of course, leads off the game with the home run. He ends the game with the home run. Yesterday as well, Mariners scored 2 runs. One of the runs came from Randy Arozarena leading off the game with yet another homer. The other run was scored purely just from Victor Robles. Robles walks, he steals second, he steals third, a missed throw to third base. Robles comes in to score. The bad part for the Mariners in yesterday's game is that, well, despite the fact they scored 2, the Cubs scored 19. And now Bryce Miller has been the losing pitcher in games where the Mariners have lost 22-0 and 19-0. And it just almost doesn't seem real, but it is. In the last 2 games that Bryce Miller has pitched in, the Mariners have been outscored 41-2. And the Cubs had 3 hits on Bryce Miller for 6 runs. Solo home run for Conforto. Grand slam for Ian Happ as Miller walked the bases loaded. Happ takes him yard the grand slam, and I think the other run was scored as well. It was walks and then a ground ball that scored a run. Their third hit was a Pedro Ramirez hit that I believe was not even in a scoring inning. So unbelievably bad start for Bryce Miller. We had been telling you, right, like Shane Baz, game results just haven't gone the Mariners' way when he's been pitching recently, and he just hasn't been as good of late either. Logan Gilbert's their best guy. Right? Brian Woo's had his games, and I'm really interested to see how Woo pitches tomorrow. He gets the ball right. Does he? No. I forgot Woo's out right now. Never mind, which that sucks because he was very good against the Astros. Damn. We'll see when Brian Woo returns. Who's getting the ball tomorrow night for them then? It's going to be, Kirby? It's Kirby tomorrow. Interesting. We'll see. So Woo could potentially come back on Wednesday. If not, he'll probably be held out until another road game on August 31st in Boston, potentially. We shall see, because that's his spot in the rotation. Anyways, Logan Gilbert is the one guy who's worse at home. Slightly worse, but is worse. 4 ERA at home this season for him. He's their all-around best pitcher, but he has games where he does really struggle. And the Phillies lineup right now is hitting quite well. I understand they were held scoreless through 8 yesterday, but when it mattered most, they scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Friday night against the Cardinals, they win 7-6. It's a walk-off victory in the 10th. Saturday's game, Phillies win 12-3. They've been able to score a bunch of runs recently, and sure, they still lack an elite hitting right-handed hitter. They just don't have one. They just have a bunch of lefties. Schwarber, Harper, Arise, Marsh. They're winning games, though, and the pitching is really coming through for them. Even though Christopher Sanchez wasn't that great yesterday, he did get 6 2/3 innings out the way, but did give up 4 runs, struck out 7 batters. I personally believe Wheeler's better currently. I know Wheeler had some bad starts against the Cardinals and the Blue Jays. I trust in Zach Wheeler quite a bit. One whip on the season, 2.92 ERA, and against the Mariners lineup where some nights they're great, but some nights, boy, are they bad. And yesterday was a game where they were just awful. Such a confusing week for the Mariners, right? You start the week in Milwaukee, you win game 1, 22-0. Okay, great. Game 2, you win it 7-5, you go up 7-0. Brewers score 5 to close the game, but you hold them off. Thursday's game, you go down 6-0 in the first inning, you fight back, but ultimately you lose 7-4. You come back home to play the Cubs. Leo Rivas walks off Chicago in the bottom of the 10th inning after Bregman ties it in the top of the 9th for Chicago. Saturday, of course, game is led off by Arozarena with the home run. It ends with an Arozarena walk-off. And then yesterday, you get blown out 19-2. The Mariners refuse to put together any momentum of any sorts, and now you got to face off against Zach Wheeler? I just don't think it goes their way. I don't think so. It's weird because, man, their lineup has nights where they're really good. I think it's going to be a bad one today. I think it's going to be. Arozarena is always a problem. He just is. Canzone, again, hits the ball hard. Cole Young is scuffling a lot. Cole Young's batting .250 now. OPS is under 700 for Cole Young. He's batting .200 in the month of August. Brutal stuff, right? They had him batting in the leadoff spot earlier, but he's just been really bad at the plate recently. Cal Raleigh's been picking up hits. Average up to 160 for Raleigh. He's put together a 3-game hitting streak. He had a hit in every single game of the Cubs series. Of course, had that 3-run shot in Friday night's game. So maybe Raleigh's finally getting there. Maybe. I don't know. Josh Naylor's been okay. Man, Julio's been bad recently. Julio averaged down to 250. OPS down to 710 for Julio Rodriguez. Oh, boy. I don't know. He's such a weird player, though. Just like this Mariners team in general. I don't trust the Mariners bullpen. Like, I can't even trust Munoz anymore. Bizardo, every time you watch Bizardo, he's ass. Jose Ferrer struggles a little bit. Michael Rucker, I thought, turned a page for this team after a great 2 2/3 outing in Milwaukee on Thursday in Thursday's loss. Yesterday, Michael Rucker, I believe he pitched how many innings? 2? Michael Rucker, no, never mind. He only got 2 outs yesterday. Michael Rucker gave up 7 runs to Chicago. To the point where the Mariners had to pitch 2 position players in the 8th and the 9th. Johnny Pareda got the 8th. Weston Wilson got the 9th inning for this team. That's why they lose, of course, 19-2. And despite how much I'm, bagging here on the Mariners, they're 7 under. They're still only 3 games out of the division lead. Houston loses 2 of 3 over the weekend. Rangers lose 2 of 3 over the weekend. So the Mariners gain a game essentially by, of course, winning their series. I mean, we've got 2 elite pitchers. I don't expect many runs, but what lineup do you think clutches up when it matters most? I do think it's Phillies. Which bullpen's better? It's close. I'm going to take the Philadelphia pen. I hate this Mariners bullpen. Like, I can't trust Gabe Spire. I can't trust Jose A. I can't trust Munoz. Definitely not Bizardo. Matt Brash would help really, hold this thing down right now, but of course he's still out. It's a matchup of 2 elite pitchers, but Logan Gilbert has not been great at home, and Zach Wheeler's great everywhere. If you want to compare savant charts, Zach Wheeler's is better. Expected ERA of 2.78 for Wheeler on the season. This is all red. Gilbert's chart is good, but it's nowhere near as good as Wheeler's. And the main thing that stands out, of course, is the fact that teams are able to hit Gilbert hard every once in a while. I think that's what happens today. I'm going Philadelphia Phillies money line on the road in Seattle, Washington. Mariners get a great chance to win one tomorrow with Aaron Nola pitching for Philly, but George Kirby's going for Seattle, and he's been awful recently too, so I just don't know what to expect tomorrow in that game either, but this one for me is Philadelphia. All that momentum coming off the Kyle Schwarber walk-off 2-run home run yesterday. You get a rise back in the lineup today. I like the Phillies to get things done, and this would be a 10th consecutive victory for Philadelphia. I think they get it. Give me Phillies money line at -115 on the road against the Mariners in most likely a low-scoring game. On to our final best bet of the video. Every time I check, this number keeps on going up and up for the Cincinnati Reds, so hopefully we still get it at a good price. As of, it's now 12:30, this is now at, it's at -145 now. Okay, so this opened at -130, and I've been eyeing this game down for quite a while. I don't know if you've been watching the last couple days. I think about a week ago, I said, okay, I'm probably going to go watch the Giants in person when Chase Burns pitches, and I want to watch Chase Burns. I just want to watch some great pitching. So I've been eyeing this game down for a little bit, and the probable matchup for a while has been Chase Burns and Adrian Houser. And for a week, I've been saying, okay, if I can get the Reds at playable money with Chase Burns against Adrian Houser, I'm 100% taking it. They bumped Houser back to tomorrow, right? Yesterday was Tugboat Wilkinson, and then it was, I'm blanking who was the bulk guy yesterday for the Giants. This is bad. I didn't really watch that game, but I was paying attention to it a little bit. Oh my goodness, who was pitching for the Giants? It was Tugboat, and it was Brubaker. It was Brubaker and Hentges got the bulk after. Regardless, actually Wilkinson was really their bulk guy. Okay, they bump Houser back to tomorrow, and you get worse. Carson Wisenhunt's throwing today for the Giants, who is by far the worst guy in this rotation. 7 ERA with the 2 WHIP, and that's over the course of 32 innings. This is not, he's made 2 starts. No, he's made 7. Giants are 3-4 in his outings. He did post a pretty good start his last home outing against the Astros, 5 2/3, 4 hits and 1 run. And there's a chance, because this is going to always be the case because it is the Cincinnati Reds, there's a chance they just don't score and they really struggle to plate anybody today. Could happen, but I don't think the Giants are scoring on Chase Burns. I don't think they're going to. And the Giants have got injuries too. There's a lot going on with the Giants here, right? A lot of things that just don't go their way here in this game. First of all, the pitching matchup, right? Chase Burns is significantly better than Carson Whisenhunt, right? Chase Burns, I'd argue, is the third best pitcher in the National League. 2.51 ERA, 1.11 whip, okay? I have a list of 10 pitchers, where if they're starting and you're playable money, I'm taking it every single time. Chase Burns is on that list of guys, okay? And he's one of the highest priority names because, like Cade Cavalli, like Dylan Cease, he's not on a good team, so his team's always at playable money despite the fact that their ace is on the mound. Okay. You look at that, first of all, the pitching very much favors Cincinnati. 2, the injuries coming out of that Boston series for the San Francisco Giants, both Victor Berry-Cotto and Willy Adames are getting MRIs. I don't think it really matters what happens in those MRIs today. Neither guy is going to play today. They may be fine for tomorrow and for the rest of the series against Cincinnati. They're not playing the day after suffering those injuries yesterday. So it's a knee injury for Berry-Cotto in the outfield, and it's an elbow injury for Willy Adames. I don't think either guy is going to play today. So that really limits your lineup. And on top of that too, right, if you think, okay, they are day-to-day, it's better for you, I guess, in the long term, but for tonight specifically, you don't have many bats then. Because if neither guy's going to the IL, they're just bench guys for today with maybe the possibility of pinch hitting. So you have to start Christian Koss. You have to start they're fine, I think, starting Drew Gilbert, but you have to start Gilbert and Cox now, both in the same lineup tonight. And you have to start Buddy Kennedy. Oh my goodness, Koss in the lineup every single day. It's Buddy Kennedy filling in for Adames because Koss is going to go to short. Kennedy's going to go to third. It's a team that's already without Casey Schmidt. They're already without Matt Chapman. They trade Elliot Ramos. This is going to get tough for them tonight, especially if those guys don't go on the IL. If they do, they can call up guys from Sacramento. Obviously, that's like a 90-minute drive from Sacramento to San Francisco. They can get their guys up in time, but the injuries are not favoring them. Third thing that favors the Reds. Okay, Cincinnati just played a 3-game series in Arizona. Yesterday did not go the Reds' way. They were winning. They ultimately lose the game 5-3. They won the middle game, of course, with the J.J. Bleday cycle. Watch out for Bleday. Today, Carson Whisenhunt is awful. And even, I know Bleday's a lefty, I think still throw him in the lineup. This guy's pretty bad. His fastball is not good. I'm just saying. Sal Stewart's got more of a potential to go crazy today. But anyways, the travel. Giants and Reds played at the same time yesterday. The Reds are playing in Phoenix, Arizona. The Giants have a late game that starts at 3:30 local time in Boston because they get the NBC game with the whole scheduling, I guess just a shuffle in scheduling yesterday with ESPN getting the Sunday night game, the only one they've gotten all year long because of the Little League World Series or the Little League Classic. They get the Sunday night game. NBC's Sunday night spot gets moved to 12 noon, 12:15 noon, my time, 3:30 on the East Coast. So the Red Sox get a Sunday game at 3:30. Normally they'd start that thing at 1 o'clock. Giants don't really get out of Boston until about 8 o'clock at night. And sure, again, that's 5 o'clock Giants time. So when you get back to San Francisco, it's really not, I don't know, it's like 10, 11 o'clock most likely. But still, it's a long flight, a lot of travel, while the Reds were probably in San Francisco at about, 4 o'clock local time, 5 o'clock if that. They had a 90-minute flight up from Phoenix. 2-hour max flight from Phoenix, Arizona. So just nothing's going the Giants' way here. Their bullpen's a little bit depleted. Their lineup's depleted. They've got 2 injuries with Adames and Berry-Cotto. And on top of it as well, they had to go cross-country for this game. And you got to face Chase Burns. I'm going with the Reds here. My main concern is with the Reds' bats, 100%. Carson Whisenhunt is just so bad, though. And you did see the Reds kind of come through their lineup over the weekend. I know they lose the last game, but they scored 11 again with the Bleday cycle on Saturday after getting shut out in the first game against Erod, where we had D-backs money line. The Reds really came through in the last couple games of that series. They were in control of yesterday's game. They were up 3-0 until the D-backs scored 5 straight in the 6th and 7th innings. I think these righties come through here. I'm looking at Sal Stewart. I'm looking at Dane Myers, who's going to be in the 3 spot. I'm looking at Tyler Stevenson, who crushes left-handed pitching. Eugenio Suarez is in a rough year, but you get a good matchup for him. Matt McLean, same thing, good matchup. There are good matchups in this lineup today for Cincinnati, and I think they absolutely deliver on this. Probably get the same lineup that they threw out against Erod. Hopefully we just see better results this time out. Oh, goodness. Can Brian Hayes not be in the lineup today? Please. Please, I don't know why Brian Hayes even plays once every 4 games. Oh, his defense is so good. He's an automatic out. He's so bad at the plate. 450 OPS. He did get he's going to play today. Because they play Brian Hayes every game but 1 per week. They sat him yesterday. That means he's going to play today. So the Reds do have an automatic out in the 9 spot today, but I still think they win. I'm going Cincinnati. Everything favors them, in my opinion. Their bats do kind of suck a little bit, but I like Sal Stewart in the spot against the left-handed arm. Oddly enough, I don't mind Matt McLean here. I think Eugenio Suarez maybe hits one out. And it's going to be a really cold game in San Francisco. Again, I'm going to this one. We're talking 50 degrees tonight in San Francisco. It's August. 50 degrees in San Francisco tonight. What are we doing? Hopefully the line stays playable. Again, open at minus 130, has moved to minus 145. I'm seeing minus 150 on some sites right now. Hopefully it stays playable because, of course, on paper, this is, I don't know, as bad of a matchup as it gets for the Giants, truly. Chase Burns is a top 3 arm in the National League, and you could argue Carson Whisenhunt's a bottom 3 arm in the National League. But I'm going Reds money line to close the night. Again, I'm just hoping the value stays for us here. Burns, 2.51 ERA on the season for Cincinnati. They've won about all but 3 starts in the last 3 months with him on the mound. The 2 losses were to Cleveland and the Washington Nationals, the Nats, who actually put 5 on Burns in 5 innings. But of course, we sold and kind of quit on the season, but it's okay. Burns gets it done for us to close the night. Do I love the Reds bullpen? No, but hey, I can tell you whose bullpen's worse than Cincinnati's. The Giants. Last time, by the way, the Giants had to go cross-country because of an NBC scheduling, not really a mishap, but just because of NBC scheduling. They were in Chicago on a late Sunday night extra innings game against the Cubs. They came back from a Monday night game against the Nationals. They blew it in the 9th inning. The Nationals won against Logan Webb with Miles Michaelis going for the Nats. So we've been in this spot before at with San Francisco. Give me Cincinnati on the road. We do tend to fade the Giants quite a bit, but for a good reason. They're the 2nd worst team in the NL. Reds money line takes us home tonight to close the video. Folks, that is it for our MLB Best Bets here on August 24th. If you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily MLB Best Bets. Make sure to join us for our college football predictions later today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.